Well, my candy underlings, Mama's gift is slowly being unwrapped. You're all doing a wonderful job. Oh, I didn't see you there. You know what? Mama's plan is already in full effect, so I'll just tell ya. All over my sweet treats and candy delicacies have been infiltrating the human world and sacrificing themselves to be eaten alive, slowly fattening the majority of humans up so they can roll over and die. And sooner, rather than later, the true superior being will overthrow America. And then the world. Honestly, it was quite simple once we initiated the fat is beautiful proposal. And those idiots took that and rolled with it. And it's been smooth sailing ever since. Rigby, where's Mama's good boy? Oh, there you are. Don't you love your outfit? It's that time of the year. Gets festive. Baby, did you hear the news? Remember when the public laughed at the fat acceptance movement for years, but they are winning. Laws are being passed now.
Mayor Adams signs a bill to prohibit height or weight discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations.
The obese are a protected class, like the blacks, on the same level.
Fat phobia should make you uncomfortable because it is intertwined with every single other system of oppression that exists. Sexism, racism, homophobia, xenophobia.
Airplane lines are giving free seats to fit them butt cheeks and kicking off the thins, and no one cares because they're skinny.
That there's a person of size that did not purchase 2 tickets but was being accommodated. And that is why we could not get in on the airplane and about to get stuck outside the country.
And soon we will complete that new world order if everything keeps going as planned, and you'll get that treat I promised you. And it will. My candy minions are just too help me addictive. I can't resist them myself. I have a family, please. Oh, what's that? You don't know what's happening? Okay, well, I'll fill you in. It's more than what a queen of the Candy Kingdom should be doing, but I have much pity for you. So sit down, relax, and let's talk about how the fat acceptance movement is an absolute success. This video is sponsored by me and my second channel. I critique a lot of the fat influencers on here, but I also like to show how I live my life as an ex-binger, making sure not to go back to my old tendencies on my second channel. We have a Christmas edition that I uploaded, so after this video, please click the link below and hang with me as I show you how I enjoy the holidays without going back to my ED. And now back to your regular scheduled programming. Let's start from the beginning. A little history lesson of the fat acceptance movement, a quick one, so we can understand why they are such a success today. We all want to know where they came from. The fat acceptance movement is a group of mostly women who fight for fat liberation, acceptance of the fat, and of course, rights for fat people, because like the blacks, they went through years of discrimination, slavery, and of course the laws that prohibited them from drinking at certain water fountains. Oh, you don't know your own history? I swear, my lord, the American people in the 1890s and up, fat people too, just like the blacks, had to drink out of a water fountain that said, "Cows drink here." It was very humiliating for them at the time. You didn't know that? Right next to the ones that said Negro. Anywho, the fat acceptance women, who are usually very anti-male, have to thank one man who fought for fat women, and that's Lou Louderback. Lou Louderback wrote an article in the Saturday Evening Post called "More People Should Be Fat," in response to discrimination against his wife. In the strictly opinionated piece, Louderback argued that thin, fat people suffer physically and emotionally from having dieted to below their natural body weight. In 1967, the article led to a meeting between Louderback and William Fabry, the National Association to Aid Fat Americans, also known as NAFA, but currently called the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance.
What myths?
What myths?
Yeah.
It's unhealthy.
Being a slob, being dirty, being dumb, being lazy, stupid. Thin people always have a good sense of humor. Fat people are jolly.
Bill Fabry intended the meeting to fight for fat rights and bring awareness to the unjustness that women like his wife faces by society. But reporters who went to the meeting noted that the people who attended for fat rights politics were scarce, and the majority of women came to shop for fashion, wear it on the conference catwalk, or to meet a potential partner.
A thin woman can put on a pair of blue jeans and a t-shirt and go out and she looks fine, one of them told us. A fat person can't. A fat person has to be more careful. But look around this room, she said, and you can't deny there are many attractive women here.
Here comes Shirley. Shirley is modeling a Robbie Lynn.
These women swear they now have come to terms with being fat.
So even though the group attracts many freaks who aren't interested of the fight for fat people type fight, Savory continued to work as a director with the Council on Size and Weight Discrimination. Through the years, the fat acceptance movement would develop different subgroups like feminism, with different beliefs and many of them just wanting to be part of a group that makes them feel pretty. And don't we all like to just feel pretty?
I'm happy with my husband and I'm happy with my life. I'm me. It doesn't matter whether I weigh 150 pounds or 350 pounds.
And you weigh 350?
Mm-hmm.
375?
375, he'll brag.
A collective of women in Los Angeles came together and formed the Fat Underground. Pretty much like the Underground Railroad, right? It's like the same thing. Their form of activism was more confrontational than NAFA's. The Fat Underground began as a more radical and activism-minded chapter of the NAAFA, but eventually split from the parent organization. The original group just wasn't radical enough for them. Women by the name Judy Free Spirit and Sarah Alberin, like perfect last name for Judy. She was meant to be a fat liberationist. Published their Fat Liberation Manifesto in response to Susie Orbach's book, Fat is a Feminist Issue, in the April 1979 issue of Off Our Backs, a radical feminist magazine. According to them, I quote, "We believe that fat people are fully entitled to human respect and recognition. We are angry at the mistreatment by commercial and sexist interests. These have exploited our bodies as objects of ridicule, thereby creating an immensely profitable market, selling the false promise of avoidance of or relief from the ridicule."
If far from being jolly, I wondered if I didn't detect a real melancholy in the room.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm unhappy because I'm ostracized from society. That's the only thing as a whole group.
You will see, just like any other group, the fat feminists and liberationists, they can disagree on how to go about being liberated, on what is the right way to fight fat phobia, but what they all agree on is that fat people deserve respect, should not be discriminated against, and the biggest priority, eat without shame.
Fat people are allowed to eat what they want without feeling guilty about it.
And now in 2023, they are celebrating all over TikTok because their hard work has finally paid off with the new fat law. Months ago, I saw fat feminist herself celebrating about a new law in her home state, New York City.
I know I'm fat. That's not a bad thing though. And I think the more that we use it as a neutral, as a descriptor, the less power it has.
Do you think that some of the discrimination for fat people happens through unconscious bias?
I think a lot of the biases against fat people are unconscious because they're never called out. Because our society functions with fat phobia imbued in it.
When this story was trending, I never really looked into it, but I saw many people upset.
Interesting thing happening in New York City. This is the headline. This is not something I wrote. Just to be clear. It says, fat people now officially a protected group in New York City. I think you opened yourself up for a lot of lawsuits.
And many people taking this as a win for fats everywhere.
All right, big win for New York City. So they enacted a law that prohibits or bans weight discrimination.
So let's see what the law is. A new bill passed in New York City is set to protect people from discrimination based on their height and weight. The bill would make it illegal to discriminate against people based on their characteristics when they're applying for housing, jobs, and public accommodation. Now, just looking at that last part, that seems a little messy, but I do love mess. Anyway, as we've seen with the fat acceptance movement and their very long list of accommodations, their accommodations and what they feel like is discrimination goes from the Mary Fran type people where they're upset that hotel towels don't fit around their whole ass cheeks.
Freaking towels. I've yet to find one that fits my body.
Then we go all the way to the more extreme where J-Bay feels like she's getting discriminated against because she can't fit through a hotel hallway and expects them to just deconstruct the whole building for her to walk her ass through. So I'm very curious, just looking at that last part, what accommodations do they mean? Because I read the whole article and they didn't really say what are the accommodations. Also, how do you know someone is discriminating against you just because you are obese? Is it a, well, I feel type situation, because sometimes I feel like people treat me rudely because I have a candy cane face. Doesn't mean that they are, but if I feel that they are, can I just take my candy cane spears and just them away because I feel they were being mean? I mean, I can do that on my home planet, I'm the queen, but can I do it in yours? Yes, but does it make it right? Absolutely not. Well, the law was being pushed, promoted, petitions were being signed, and Fat Feminist was a huge part of it.
This city that I love so dearly is built without my body in mind.
The bill's main sponsor was Councilman Sean Abreu, who gained 40 pounds during COVID and said he felt people treated him differently. Well, isn't that just convenient? Now, I'm not saying people won't treat others differently, depending on how they look or how much they weigh, but as someone who was a little chunkier candy queen before and thought people treated me a certain way, overthink things and imagine situations in my head because I was an extremely super insecure individual. Could there be any possibility this man gained 40 pounds, ate shit, probably thinks he looks like shit, and now feels like shit? And since we are our worst critic, probably thinks that every other person is treating him differently based on what he thinks about himself. Could that just be even like 20%? Of what's going on? 50%. Well, the New York City Mayor Eric Adams thought it was a great idea. Very convincing, ladies and gentlemen, and he signed it off. So now it is illegal to not accommodate a fat person in New York, and if they feel you are discriminating, there are gonna be some problems, which takes us to a perfect example of the many people on TikTok who are celebrating once again because Southwest Airlines is accommodating their plus size passengers with free, I repeat, free seats. And these accommodations are causing issues for other people. But who cares? Because once again, they're skinny. Like this. If you have a body like this, no one cares. You're nothing. Ugh, gross.
Southwest Airlines unveiling a new policy to help plus-sized passengers. The company's customer of size policy is what they're calling it, will allow passengers to request an additional seat at no additional cost.
So Southwest has raised prices for bringing your dog, even though the poor little pooches get shoved underneath the seat right in front of your seat in which you paid for. They make mothers pay for a ticket for their child, even though the kid will sit on their lap anyway. But thank God people like Mary Fran, freaking towels, and J-Bay and everyone in between get a free extra seat for their extra large butt cheek. You can't make this up. It is hilarious. And what's even funnier are the people getting kicked off the plane because a person of size needs the extra seat and they must accommodate the chunk.
Controversial, but I really need to understand what just happened. Flying from Montego Bay, stop in Baltimore, going home to Denver. And in Montego Bay, they tell us on Southwest that we cannot go on the plane because it got overbooked and we cannot get in because I was on standby. Well, I wasn't on the standby. It wasn't my ticket. I purchased the ticket and they couldn't get, so it's me, my daughter, and her friend, me with 2 teenagers. We can't get in on the plane. Later to find out that there's a person of size that did not purchase 2 tickets, but was being accommodated. And that is why we could not get in on the airplane and about to get stuck outside the country. Please, again, I said it's controversial. Please help me understand. Why do I have to spend the night without any accommodations in Baltimore because person oversized person, how did they call her, didn't purchase a second ticket. Well, here's the thing. I asked that here at the Baltimore. They said, sorry, we can't accommodate you. 9 o'clock right now. I have a ticket. I have a flight for tomorrow morning. No accommodations with 2 teenagers stuck at the airport. But she explained to me that Southwest policy is to accommodate a person of size, there we go, person of size, even if they did not purchase a ticket. And it is their right to kick a person out of the plane for the oversized person. I explained to her that I paid for the ticket. She said, we need to accommodate person of size. I said, but I purchased the ticket. And she said, well, it's a Southwest policy. And when we're going back and forth, I lost it.
Yeah. There is a customer size for 2 on the aircraft. Even if there aren't enough seats, we have to accommodate that customer of size. And unfortunately, we do have to accommodate a customer of size if they need an extra seat. We don't charge for extra seats. If a customer of size gets on that aircraft, we have to accommodate them with an extra seat of no charge.
But who cares? They're the thins, and these are the fats, and the fats must sit. They get very upset if they cannot fit into a seat. Well, let's see how they handled kicking off this mom and her 2 children off the plane because a fat person, person of size, needed to spill their butt cheeks into the next seat. Southwest offers customers of size who encroach upon any part of the neighboring seats may proactively purchase the needed number of seats prior to ensure the additional seats is available. Some customers may be unaware of this policy, and we again apologize that the passenger on board had not taken advantage of our customer of size policy in advance, which resulted in your daughter being unable to travel. So oopsie, sorry. Passenger of size kind of just forgot to do it. Any normal person would say, you're right. I paid for 1 seat, but in fact, oh, look at that. My butt cheeks are in 2. Let me just pay because I'm a logical human being. Or a normal person would say, oops, I didn't do my research and call the airlines and warn them that I'm a person of size so I don't hinder other passengers' day since this group is always telling people to be more empathetic. But oh no, you humans are not logical, nor are you normal. You see something about my little candy men. They're full of sugar, and sugar, well, that rots your brain. From the inside, not only will they balloon you up, but they will destroy your ability to think clearly like a normal person. You'll become fat, but you'll also become incompetent, selfish. You deserve to take up space. I tell you, you people make it so easy. Many people already died off in this fat community. What, like 5 or 6 now? All under the age of 45. And what's funny? What's the most humorous thing out of all of this is that people are dying in this community right in front of women like this. But they don't care. They're too busy dancing around celebrating a new fat law.
The best part about flying with Southwest is they give you a free extra seat. I always ask for that check-in and they give it to me and I go get on the plane and I go sit down and be as big as I need to be.
Are you winning? Are you? For now, you are, but soon, my babies, very soon, our time will come and it will be delicious.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared.